What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Absolutely April, here for another reality recap. And as you know from the title, we are doing Married at First Sight. We are on episode 13, and it's called The Ugly Truth. And let me tell y'all, it was definitely an ugly truth. If you're new to my channel, know that I do recaps of reality shows, Netflix movies, TV shows. I give my unfiltered opinion and I put a little hint of spirituality up in there. So if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. If you like the content you're getting, hit the like button and also the notification bell so you'll be notified from on all of my uploads. And share it if you want to if you like my opinions, share it with someone else that may share my same opinion. I want to grow this tribe, I want to grow this community, so I'm definitely thanking all of my new subscribers, and I'm welcoming all of my old viewers back, my returnees. I don't want to say old viewers, but my returnees, I'm welcoming you back. I appreciate your engagement, I appreciate your support. Now let's get into this married to, no, not married to medicine. Oh, married at first sight recap because I got some thoughts. So it's 13 days into decision day, and Miguel is bundling McGinty up, and Lindy admits that Miguel did most of the work. Like we all knew, Miguel did most of the work. Lindy kind of sat back. We all know that Mindy does not. It's, I said Mindy. Lindy does not handle stress well. So yeah, Miguel had to take the reins. Miguel, I hope you're looking. I hope you are paying attention to some of the signs because had it been a real baby, this would be all on you, bruh. So watch the signs, Miguel. Watch the signs. So Morgan says she's tired of being sad. I don't think so, Morgan. I think you love to feel sad. I think you love to beat up on people. I think you love to wallow. It's just who you are at this point. You are the victim and you like to perpetuate this victim mentality because everything is Ben's fault and nothing is your fault. So Kristen meets with Mitch's sister-in-law, Stephanie, for a little girl talk and to kind of, vent about Mitch. So Kristen says she struggles with his contrarianism, and we all know that Mitch always got something to say. He is a wet blanket. If you're happy about something, Mitch is gonna find a way to be contrary. So Stephanie says it doesn't take the effort, and he doesn't take the effort in when how he presents things, and she feels he's learned a lot and not making people feel bad about the best way to get change. So she feels like he's starting to learn like making people feel bad is not the best way. So Stephanie tells Kristen to be vulnerable and to be clear with what she wants. So Lindy and Miguel go axe throwing, and Miguel is horrible. He is definitely not Paul Bunyan because Mindy is chucking those axes. Again, Miguel, run. She's good with an axe. She's good with an axe. And we know that Lindy is ticky ticky boom boom. So she's good with an axe. Mental notes, Miguel, mental notes. So Miguel says Miguel isn't so they're talking about how they're growing closer, and Miguel says he can't tell her it's going to be a forever thing because he doesn't know. So Miguel is being more of a realist in the situation. He's saying like things happen, and I can't promise you forever because forever may not be in the cards for us. So again, Lindy starts to spin out. She was like, you she feels like you can find love again and you can build it back. But Miguel feels like you could disagree. Once the marriage or the love is irretrievably lost, he feels like it's just that's what it is and it can't come back once you get to that point. And I agree to some point. Sometimes you don't wake up and you are so happy in your marriage, or you may wake up, or you may be having some, not seeing eye to eye, and it's causing you to not like your spouse. And but if you have that foundation of love, you kind of come every day and just continue to work at it so you can get back, if it's counseling, whatever it is, to get on the same page again, and to get that love back. Get that love going again. So I see where Lindy's coming from, but also there are times when you divorce is the only option. It's just like you can't continue to go back, and you can't continue to put yourself in a bad situation. Sometimes the best answer is to both go your separate ways. So I mean, I see both sides. I think they're saying, Miguel is more realistic, and Lindy is more idealistic in this, and how their viewpoints. So she's, as Lindy is spinning out, she feels like if she doesn't cater to him, that he would just leave her, and she sees that as a threat. So we all know Lindy is over analyzing. She has a lot of pent up anxiety, ruminating thoughts. All of these things is Lindy's downfall. I don't know if she takes any medication to help, but she's not really good at self-soothing and self-regulating. When she starts to spin out, she needs someone else to kind of bring her down. And so Lindy definitely needs to work on how to regulate her emotions a little bit better. Justin meets with Will, Alexis's friend. Will asks how Justin is, and he says, marriage is a beast, but it's uncomfortable, but yet it's good. So Justin, I just feel like you're at a point where you're exhausted in this marriage. You don't know what Alexis wants, and you are so busy trying to people please that you don't even know what you want at this point. So Justin brings up the fact that he had to give up his dog to make his wife comfortable. Again, Justin, this is not an Alexis issue. This is your issue. You wanted to people please. If you did not want to give up Maya, you shouldn't have. You should have come up with other desires. And this is what the issue is with people pleasers. And I'm a reformed people pleaser, because sometimes you don't want to make people angry, and sometimes you'll make yourself the martyr, and I'll just do it even though I don't want to. But that's just not how you should operate. You should do what lights you up, and you should do what feels good to you. And Justin, you have to stand in your masculine energy to say, no, Alexis, this is what's going to happen. We're going to find somewhere else for him to, for Maya to get the training that she needs. Maya is not a lost cause. She did not come across as a rabid dog. I think with the right trainer, Maya can really learn some tips. But Justin brings up the fact that he gave up his dog for him, and Will, Alexis's friend acknowledges that you had to do what was best for your wife. Yes, I know the thing with happy life, happy wife, happy life. But you also have to, don't forget about yourself, Justin. You can't be so so hell bent on wanting to make Alexis happy that you're not making yourself happy. You are a factor in this marriage as well. So Justin says he wants to do better with his temper, because he doesn't want to argue, when they do have a family, he doesn't want to have to argue in front of his kids. And I agree. I didn't argue in front of my kid. Me and my husband, I didn't like to argue in front of my child. And we didn't really get heated per se, have tempers flaring and cussing at each other. That's just not what we did. We talked. And if I felt like I was getting to a point where my temper was rising, we would have to take a break. Before, I didn't want to ever have to say something to him that I couldn't take back, because I don't believe in, words don't hurt. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words don't hurt. Words do hurt, and once you say it, you can't take it back a lot of times because it's out there. So so I feel like Justin says that his biggest fear with Alexis is just quitting. And sometimes, Justin, I feel like you have to make sure you're getting reciprocity in your relationship. And I feel like Alexis is wanting you to kind of take the manly role, but you're not. You're just kind of laying back and letting Alexis take control, and you need to kind of, I hate to use that word man up, but you need to kind of get yourself together where you can make decisions and stand in those decisions. Um, so Kristen and Mitch meet with Dr. Pepper and to navigate through their worries. Kristen says she has a few, but she will start off easy. So she starts off, and when she says that Mitch's seems like, to me, he's already sulking. And Mitch just seems like he don't want to hear it, but maybe he does. Let's see. So Kristen says that Mitch, she is okay with Mitch being an advocate for the environment. She's looking to support him, but at the level that she is comfortable, and she doesn't like feeling guilty for having her iced lattes. Poor Kristen. So Mitch says, I don't have a problem with you getting your iced lattes, and but he would prefer her to use a reusable cup if she's going to get her iced lattes. And he said, but it's not going to make or break their marriage if she forgets, one time. But he would be more proud of her if she would use the reusable cups. And so I'm like, you would be more proud of her if you would use the reusable cups. But Mitch, are you doing stuff that Kristen would be proud of, like being supportive? Like, she would be proud if you would support her in her endeavors. Why is it always about you, Mitch? Like, I'm starting to see the old Mitch, and I'm starting to get ticked off now. So Dr. Pepper asked, is there anything in her life that she wants to pursue and that goes against Mitch's values? So Kristen brings up the flipping of the homes, and she says she wants to flip homes. But Kristen also made the compromise, like, what furniture she puts in, she wants to use reusable furniture, make the house eco-friendly. But that's just not good enough for Mitch, because Mitch still has an issue. And he says, he just hates that, you're going to be putting people out who maybe cannot afford the house, those working class people who maybe don't make this, the wage to, to buy the house. So you're putting someone out of their house essentially. And so I get it, Mitch, and I feel like that's very admirable that you are thinking about the working class. However, I don't feel like Kristen is trying to be this big conglomerate. She's going to be she's I don't know, but she doesn't seem like she's going to take over the world with just putting people out their homes. She's just going to be flipping homes, and she made a compromise to make sure that she uses reusable, eco-friendly products. But that's still not good enough for Mitch. So Dr. Pepper says, well, that's a huge weight to put on one person. It is, Mitch. It is. Like, I can't, even though I'm supporting you, I don't have the same passion that you have. So don't hold Kristen to that. Like, so Mitch says, there's always a dark side in society. And if she can handle the fact that Mitch is always going to bring up the dark sides of this society and reminding people and her of the consequences of their actions. But I'm like, you want to remind people of the consequences of their actions, but you don't like to get consequences, Mitch. So Kristen says, well, she doesn't know. She says she values synergy and only cares about the good in people. She doesn't like the way contrarianism and always looking at the dark side, how that affects her. It drains her energy. So Dr. Pepper reminds them how far they've come. And Mitch says, he will never go away. Mitch says, I'm sorry, the whole dark side thing is never going to go away. And maybe because it won't go away, she'll go and find someone else. So Dr. Pepper says, tells them that they haven't come along. Like, Dr. Pepper, I guess she's saying what Kristen is saying, like, well, they haven't come along yet, so why are you worried about someone else? So they ain't come along yet, but don't mean they won't come, because Kristen can't continue to sacrifice herself and her happiness either, Dr. Pepper. So Mitch asked Kristen, how are they feeling? Is she in the same place about decision day? Because, prior to, when they were on their honeymoon, she says if they don't get to a I love you, then she would probably say no on decision day. So Mitch is asking, is she in that same place? And Kristen says no, she likes, that they have been building, since the honeymoon, and she's not going to put it in the same space. However, she wants to know that Mitch can move to an I love you. Like, can you get there? And if you can, then she's all in. But if you can't, then, we can go our separate ways. So Mitch says he's willing to do the work. And Kristen also vows to be vulnerable, with him, and to, share how she feels with Mitch. So moving on to Stasha and Nate, they meet with Pastor Cal, and Stasha just loves Pastor Cal. And I feel like she looks like him as a father figure. She's really, you could tell she misses that father relationship. So she and Pastor Cal, she's excited to see him. So Pastor Cal says they've been doing, things that kind of embarrass him. And so they're like, what are we doing, things that embarrass him? And he was like, with the sex toys and stuff. So, they laugh it off, and Nate says, oh, you ain't a freak. Nate, don't say that to Pastor Cal. Pastor Cal don't want to talk about what his freak number is, Nate. So Nate got real comfortable with Pastor Cal. But I can understand, some people are uncomfortable with that whole thing. And so I guess Pastor Cal, he didn't want to see them in that light, but y'all tell him. Y'all told her that you lose control and let Nate do what he do. And that's what happened. So Stasha, says, Pastor Cal asked them where are they as it relates to love. And so Stasha says she's all in with Nate. She loves him, and she, loves him unconditionally. Stasha, I don't know if you love him unconditionally. I think there are some conditions, but okay, we're going to go with that. So Nate says, he hasn't reciprocated, those words, but he feels she's amazing. He admires her, and he feels like, that's on the same road to love. And I don't think, Stasha is not happy about that, because she is wanting to, she wants Nate to be where she is. And it's like, you've only been married for 5 weeks. Allow him to get there. And pressing him is not going to make him get there any faster, Stasha. You have to release that control and just be okay. Well, I love him, and as long as he's saying that he can get there and he's making those steps and he sees promise in us, just let it go. Just let it go. Just enjoy your marriage. So Pastor Cal has, as asking Nate, what is the reason he hasn't gotten to love yet? Is there, something in his history that is saying that? And he said, have you ever been cheated on? And he says, no, not that he's aware of. But Pastor Cal, you did not ask if Nate has ever cheated. So, when he goes to Stasha and said, you've had that history of being cheated on in the past, and, you've never cheated. And so Stasha corrects him like, oh, well, yes, I did. 10 plus years ago, I did. So Nate is shocked at this point, and he says that he's disappointed to find out that Stasha cheated, but it's been 10 plus years ago. She's 37 now. So that means she was like 27, 28. Or maybe younger. So it's not that she was in her 20s. We don't know the circumstances as to why. Now, is it right? No, but we all make mistakes. So Nate was being a little judgmental at that point. And so Stasha feels like, well, at this point, I'm gonna be, want to pull back and not really, express myself or tell him more about, my flaws, because I feel like I'm going to be judged. And, Nate, you might be right. I mean, with Nate, I don't know why he's looking at Stasha like that. You know who Stasha is, and Stasha is all in at this point. And I don't think that that's going to be the case for you. And I get it. And it would give me room for pause, because I know that you have done that in the past. So yeah, it would give me room for pause, but you also have to learn, Nate, how to be more vulnerable and allow yourself to be all in this marriage. The vulnerability isn't for Stasha. The vulnerability is for you to allow yourself to see, where this love can go. So I'm gonna get off my high horse on that. So Miguel meets with Stephanie, Lindy's friend. So Miguel asks for the dirt on Lindy and says, she gets hangry. So Lindy's friend says, Lindy gets hangry when she doesn't eat, and I'm just like, that's not going to be a problem because Lindy Miguel is constantly cooking for Lindy. Every time we see an episode, the show opens up with Miguel feeding Lindy. So I don't ever think that Lindy not eating is going to be a point. We need to get some more tea on Lindy and her ticky ticky boom boom. So Miguel says, he hasn't, experienced that yet, but maybe it's because, he's always feeding her. So he tells her, he tells Stephanie that he loves her goofy personality, but he has noticed that Lindy has he noticed how she handles challenges, especially with the baby, that she just kind of goes from 0 to 60 real quick. And he just don't know how he can deal with her, getting so angry so fast all the time. So, Stephanie acknowledges, yeah, Lindy can get angry and defensive for no reason. And so Miguel says, he wishes that he could, that Lindy would be better at working through her emotions and not getting so angry all the time or so quickly and just spinning out. He wants her to, be able to self-regulate and stop allowing things to get her so wrapped up and just out of control. So, and he also said, with her not being able to do that, it's going to eventually, push them apart. So I'm telling you, Miguel, like, I know it's all rainbows and sunshine with you and Lindy, but you are going to have to see, you talk about, being a realist and seeing things for what they are. But I really think you are looking at Lindy with rose colored glasses. You're in love, y'all having great sex, or, whatever. And y'all gonna end up, y'all gonna have more issues. So I need you to go ahead and see Lindy for what it is, and maybe we can work through some, therapy sessions with her that maybe she can learn how to self-regulate. So Alexis and Justin meet with Devon Franklin. So Devon finally shows up, and Devon asks about the club. He gets right to it. He asks about the club and what feeling it gives Alexis. And Alexis says, going to the club makes her feel free because she has such a demanding job. She always has to be in control and dominant. And she just, when she gets to a club, she just feels free and she can let her hair down. I get it, Alexis, but every weekend is quite a bit excessive. You need to find some other ways you can feel free. But every weekend is a little excessive as a married woman. So Devon says, ask her if she feels free in her marriage. And of course, she says she feels smothered by Justin. And so Justin says, well, I didn't want my wife to feel smothered. That's not what, and every time they're saying smothered, I just think of hash browns from Waffle House, smothered and covered. So, just say, I don't want my wife to feel smothered. That's not what my intent was. So Devon asked Alexis what marriage would need to look like for her to get, to feel the freedom in her marriage. So she said doing things together like extreme sports and hiking and things of that nature. So Devon asked Justin, do you like doing those things? And Justin says yes. I don't know if I believe Justin. Justin don't seem like he's the hiking type person. Justin seems like the person who likes to sit in the house, and Alexis is not that type of girl. So Devon encourages them to find activities that they can do together that, encourages that freedom so Alexis can have that freedom feel that she enjoys. I wonder if Alexis is a Sagittarius because Sagittarians really love freedom. So Justin says Alexis is going to the club, makes him feel like he could actually lose her one day. And I can understand that because going to the club, I'm pretty sure, she has a freakum dress on and, but also you have to trust Alexis enough to know that nothing is going to go down in the club. She's going to be respectable, but going every weekend is going to have to be a compromise. Do something else besides shaking your behind in the club. And we all know going to the club ain't lasting no 2 hours like Alexis says, because when your song come on, you might be walking out the club, and then as soon as your song come on, it brings you back to the dance floor, and you dancing for another hour, and then say, oh, where did the time go? I was supposed to be going an hour or so ago. And then they start playing Cash Money for the 2000s, going back, to some Uncle Luke, and you just can't resist it. So, but again, you have to have balance. Have balance. So Devon says they would never have a happy marriage if Justin continues trying to control Alexis. So Devon then goes into asking about their sex life. So Alexis says that she, is dominating her life, and she would rather be dominated in the bedroom. I know that's right, Alexis. Like, I want, take me. Like she wants a little bit of what Stasha and Nate got, where she was tied up and stuff. So and Justin says he's dominant. No, you ain't, Justin. You ain't got a dominant bone in your body. And if you had been dominant, you would have been dominant. You would have been dominant. Justin has harnessed way too much of his feminine energy. And I hate to say this, but I'm also feeling like, is Justin, a V? Has he had relations before? Because he keeps talking about he's celibate, but I'm starting to think he is a V. I don't know if I can say this on the channel, but I'm starting to feel those vibes from him, because he just gets so uncomfortable when it comes to intimacy. Like, I need to have the same energy reciprocated. Like, if y'all dancing around in an apartment and Alexis she had a whole pole, a stripper pole in the house. That if that's not giving energy, I don't know what is, Justin. So I'm starting to feel like either something you feel inadequate about with your intimacy, something make you're inadequate, or you feel inadequate about your relations, or something. But you need to just go ahead and just take the bull by the horns and just go ahead and get it in with your wife. So moving on. I don't want to dwell too much in that. So Morgan and Ben visit Dr. Pepper. So Ben wants his marriage to work because he knows his parents don't believe in divorce. And he knows that his mother would continue to love him no matter what, but his father may be a little rough on him. And we all know that Ben said his father's and Morgan's temperament is very similar. So Ben wants so Dr. Pepper asks, what being in a relationship brings out of them. So Morgan immediately says, with the right person, and, I could be softer. I don't think so, Morgan. Justin is harnessing a lot of his feminine energy, and you are harnessing a lot of your masculinity. You say that bringing someone, being trusting and all that stuff would bring in your softer side, and I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I feel like you have some traumas that you have not addressed, and you're always going to blame someone else for what you got going on because you don't want to do the internal work. So Dr. Pepper acknowledges that Ben has been in a panic throughout the marriage, and he has, because he is almost like an abused man to me. I feel he has been beat down, and he can't make her happy, and he doesn't know what else to do, and he's just frantic at this point, and he just doesn't know what to make her happy, and he is a people pleaser. So this is going against every fiber of Ben's being, because he is not able to please her, and he's just spinning out as well. So And then also Dr. Pepper says, he has been very, judgmental about the whole nursing license and all that stuff. So we back at the nursing license. I thought we put that to bed and that to rest, but here it is again, rearing its ugly head. So Morgan, in her confessional, she has to show everyone that you can just Google and see my license and blah, 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 blah. Girl, Ben has gotten over that. He was really harping on the fact that you said you had a bachelor's degree and you did not have a bachelor's degree. You had one course left, so you lied. So that caused him to kind of spin out of control. So why didn't you just bring up the Google when y'all was in the honeymoon and show Ben then? Did you just finish that class so now you can say you certified? I don't buy anything Morgan is selling. I'm just annoyed with her at this point. So Morgan says Ben hasn't given her the heartfelt apology, and it's always something that he has to be prompted to do. And girl, oh my God, he has apologized. He has, revealed some things to him about his dad and all these things. He has really dug deep. And every time he's done it, you just kind of slapped him back down like you did those roses. He has given you a heartfelt apology. You have not apologized for lying. You have not apologized for the way you've talked to him and treated him throughout this whole process. And I feel like the experts are being light on Morgan. I really do feel like they're being light on her and they are not taking her to task, because this is unacceptable behavior on how to treat a man or anybody. Because had it been reversed and Ben was treating Morgan like that, they would have been all on Ben's behind. You sit there and let Morgan talk to him crazy, throw down his roses, stomp around, and just treat him like trash. And y'all said nothing. Y'all always sided with Morgan, and that's annoying to me. I hope y'all revisit this in the reunion, because y'all need to correct that, because y'all have made Ben feel like he's inadequate, feel like he can't do, he's not, I feel like y'all done broke him in this process, and y'all have not built him up at any time. Have y'all built him up? Y'all build Mitch up the more than y'all build Ben up. I'm annoyed with that. As you can see, I got a little annoyed with that and I had to go on a rant. But that's just how I feel. Comment down below if you feel the same. Maybe I'm being too passionate about it. I don't know. But I just feel like Ben has gotten the short end of the stick in this process and in marriage. And I'm glad that, Morgan don't want to be with him no more. I'm glad. Leave him alone. So Dr. Pepper asked, how Ben felt about being in the marriage. So Ben said he was unable to show his emotions growing up, and he, did the same with his marriage, and which caused him to, go into fight or flight mode. So he went into the flight mode and he just ran away. Dr. Pepper asked, when they have been happy in the process. Morgan says in the beginning, you must mean at the wedding, because at the honeymoon you was stomping around like someone stole your bike. So you have been unhappy this entire process, Morgan. So Dr. Pepper asked, is this if this marriage is reconstructible? And Morgan says, not on her end. She needs trust. Again, she needs trust. She needs trust. She needs trust. But you are the liar. So Morgan says she wants a divorce. So Dr. Pepper asked Ben if he wants a divorce, and he says, he clearly is not ready for marriage, and he needs to do some more work on himself. So yes, he wants a divorce too. Oh, Ben. And so Ben goes in his confessional and say, he's going to be the first one in his family to get a divorce. And on top of that, he's not a doctor, and everyone in his family is a doctor. So he's just going to have to deal with that. Yes, Ben, you are going to have to deal with that. You are not a disappointment. You are an engineer. You do well for yourself. You're not asking your family for money. You are doing what you need to do. You want to be retired by 40, in your 40s or 50s, whenever you said it was, and continue on with your goal and live your life. You cannot live your life for your parents or anybody else. You don't deserve to be treated the way Morgan treated you, and you don't deserve, as a grown man, for your daddy to treat you like that either. I mean, you are going to have to establish boundaries on how people treat you, Ben. And the boundaries are not for them, it's for you. It is for you. Boundaries are for you, not for them. So Kristen and Mitch talk about how they were able to, navigate through the whole flipping houses situation. So as Kristen is talking, Mitch is slurping and is getting under my skin. I hate when people slurp. It's just it's a pet peeve of mine. So he's like, as she's talking, and clearly is rattling her, and she's like, "What the heck?" So Kristen, says it hasn't been extreme living with Mitch so far. And Mitch says, oh, but it can get worse. And we all know what Mitch's house looked like. It was dirty. It looked like maybe it might have roaches in there and other things, among other things. So yeah, we know it could definitely get worse, Mitch. And he said he's been holding back because they've been in a temporary living situation. Oh my God, Kristen, you are going to lose your mind if Mitch unleashes anything like what that house looked like. So Mitch says he likes to use cloths instead of paper towels. So that's one of the things he relaxed on. And Kristen says, it's fine as long as she isn't the only one cleaning the cloths. I mean, and I agree. So Mitch is still slurping his noodles, as she's talking. I'm just like, ah! So Mitch, says in his confessional that, he hasn't brought up the fact that he wants Kristen to look more natural, and that's the way he's more attracted to her. So we are back at that again, Mitch. And it's not like Kristen wears a lot of makeup. I just really see maybe some light foundation and some eyeliner. And when she's going out, she probably judges it up a little bit more, but she doesn't just walk around with a beat face all the time. Like Mitch is not that serious. She's a very because she dresses conservative, she doesn't like let it all hang out. So I don't know what Mitch always got a gripe. So Nate meets with Stasha's friend and cousin, and Nate tells him, that they have challenges, but it's going good so far. And he brings up the fact that Stasha cheated 10 years ago, and now he's kind of looking at her through a disappointed lens because of her cheating. And so I think her cousin Tamika asked if it's hard to accept her, and Nate says, it's a lot of hurt, but from the disappointment, like Nate, I feel like you've been 20 on 10, Nate. it's too much. So it's just like he said, it's a lot of hurt, but it's getting there. And Nate wants to enjoy the process more. He says he wants to, but Stasha wants to just hurry up and get to the finish line, but he wants to enjoy the process. He feels like this whole married at first sight thing has been like a boot camp for vulnerability for him. So it's something that he is constantly has to learn. And they ask about if, they said that I love yous, and he said he hasn't, Stasha said it to him, but he hasn't said it to Stasha. So Stasha's cousin and friend, they said, if they know Stasha, that if he doesn't say it, soon, that's going to, make her want to retreat and not, and kind of take a step back. But Stasha just needs to relax, and just let it go. And yeah, I was looking at my notes to make sure I said everything. But yeah, Stasha just needs to let it go. Stop pressuring this man to say I love you. Is like you are going to push him away, sis. So Stasha meets with Teddy and George, Nate's friends. Stasha says, they had obstacles, but they got through it. So clearly they got the same talking points. I don't know if they got their talking points together before they left the house, but they have the same talking points. They have challenges, but they got it. Stasha saying they had obstacles, but they got it together. Stasha, his friends said they never saw Nate in a meaningful relationship. And so that's a red flag for Stasha because Nate is like 35, I believe, however old Nate is, and he's never, got into a meaningful relationship. So George, Nate's friend, feels like, once Nate gets more comfortable, he will open up a lot more. And but they said, that's just how Nate is. Stasha says she doesn't want to be in a loveless marriage. Stasha, you are now putting 20 on 10. Leave it alone. You will get there. You just have to give it time. And especially if you know that it's going to take him a while to get open up and it's just taking him a while to get there, just continue to be yourself and showing up as yourself and being supportive of him and being honest and vulnerable. And then he will eventually follow suit, but you just got to let it go, Elsa. Let it go. So George says, Nate will never follow the rules and the process. He's going to do his own thing. So Nate is also like a contrarian like Mitch, but I don't think he's so much like Mitch where it's just always, he just has to voice it. I think Nate is just that type of person who probably lacks a little humility where he just like, I know better. I'm the smartest person in the room, like he said in his letter to his younger self. You're the smartest person in the room. Like he's just that arrogant guy. He's not humble. He thinks he knows everything, and he does not. So moving on. So Pastor Cal meets with Lindy and Miguel. Lindy talks about how the baby stressed her, stressed them out, and that Miguel had to take over 2 nights in a row because the baby was just crying every 2 hours and she couldn't take it. Miguel, listen. So Cal asked about Lindy's ways of handling stress. Miguel says, the negativity and the anxiety is starting to wear him down. That's a lot of energy to consume, Miguel. So I can understand that. So Cal asked, as if Miguel has seen the worst of her. And of course, Lindy, he hasn't seen where I can go. He said on a scale of 1 to 10, how, where have you been with Miguel, as far as in this marriage? And she says, I've been about at a 4.5. And so Lindy laughs and she said, does that scare you? And Miguel's like, yeah, a little, that I don't know why. I don't know. Maya Angelou says when people tell you who they are, believe them. And Lindy is saying she can get to a 10 and she's only at a 4.5. She ain't even at a 5. So Miguel, please take heed to what she's saying. Pastor Cal, I like to take people at their word, because if she's saying that she can get there, she can get there. But she did say to Pastor Cal, because Pastor Cal has said, how many times have you ever been at that 10? And she was like, maybe once, not too often. So, Cal asked, so Miguel says, he has an issue with her being negative and all that kind of stuff. So it's just, he's just trying to, take it at face value. So let's see. Mitch meets with Kristen's sister Rachel, and Rachel asks if he has to overcome if he has overcome the issues he had in the beginning. Mitch says he has. It was more him than her, and he was expecting more of a hippie walking down the aisle, but now he's over that. So Rachel says Kristen deserves someone who will be all in with her. Exactly, Rachel. Mitch asked Rachel how he can tell Kristen he likes her more natural look. Mitch, leave it alone. Why would you ask her sister that? So Rachel says Kristen is not wearing makeup for him, but to make her feel at her best. And her advice to Kristen is to figure out if Mitch is the person for her. Boom. Thank you, Rachel. She was like, you ain't gonna talk about my sister like that. So the couples meet at the pool, and Morgan asks Kristen, how have they been? And Kristen is annoyed that Mitch told her sister, how he prefers she looked. And Morgan tells them, they had their decision day, and they are getting a divorce. So she announces that to the whole couple, all the couples. So Ben says, it's bittersweet, but, he has to get control of his life and all that kind of stuff. So Mitch asks if they feel at peace. Morgan says yes, and they will never be friends because she needs trust. He don't want to be friends with you either, Morgan. Like, leave it alone. So Ben says, he could be friends, but he wants her to forgive and heal. Yes, she needs to. Girl, bye. So Stasha says their meeting went well and they got a lot of positive feedback. Lindy and Miguel, of course, said they're doing well, rose-colored glasses. So Justin says, they spoke about intimacy and says Alexis wants dominance, but he wants he wants to know that Alexis wants it. And Miguel asks if they're still in love, and Justin says, he is still in love. I don't know. I don't know. You may be, but I don't know about Alexis. So Stasha asks about decision day. Justin says, he's unsure at the moment. And Alexis says she's giving, it time and patience. She's not going to dwell on it. So Mitch says, they met with Dr. Pepper and he feels she gets them. And Alexis tells Mitch that she's glad she can get past, Alexis putting, chiming in and starting drama. It says, I'm so glad, Mitch, that you can get past Kristen wearing makeup. Alexis, why you even had to say that? First of all, that was told to you in confidence when Kristen had that meeting with you by yourselves. So you brought it to the group. So Kristen, asked Mitch, are you over those things? So Mitch says he doesn't even recollect saying it in the beginning. He doesn't recollect saying it because he said it to her and not the group. So Justin says he remembered. No, you don't, because he didn't say it to the group, Justin. You and Alexis was gossiping together, and she might have told you. But he did not say that to the group, because nobody else in the group had heard that but you, Justin. But again, y'all like to start the mess, you and Alexis. So Kristen clarifies that, she never wanted to be more earthy. So she said, you wanted something more earthy. That's just not me. So Justin is still chiming in and saying, like, yeah, I heard you say that, Mitch. I heard you say that. Shut up, Justin. Worry about your intimacy and that you can't be dominant in the bedroom. So Mitch finally said, yeah, I did say it, but he didn't realize it had gotten around and he didn't want to sound like a controlling husband. So he did not realize that it had gotten out into the group what he said, and he didn't want to look like he was the controlling husband. So, Morgan asked where he is now, and Mitch says, he is unsure. Kristen says they are both undecided about decision day, and she has to determine if Mitch is the right one for her. Boom. Her sister got her together, and and she's taking heed to what her sister said. So Nate asked Stasha if they thought, he's saying on the side, you think they're gonna make it? Stasha said it's a no. Them two. Y'all just as bad as Justin and Alexis. So the experts surprised the couples because they were listening in. And Devon asked Alexis, could you make intimacy easier for Justin? And she was like, she says she did earlier today. And Devon asked him to step it up, not just for Alexis, but for your life. Like, you need to get the confidence that you need to, take life and just, be confident, show up as a confident man. You just need to do that for yourself and not just for Alexis. So Dr. Pepper goes on to ask Kristen and Mitch if something happened because she's confused. So Kristen tells Mitch that, his call with her sister, that he wasn't over some attraction issues. Kristen is telling, that Mitch is still not over the attraction issues and her being natural. So Mitch says he did ask Rachel for her input, telling Kristen, he likes her better without makeup. So Dr. Pepper asks Mitch if he is very attracted to Kristen. Mitch hesitates and says, I'm attracted to her. And Dr. Pepper says, she's going to hear that exactly the way I'm hearing it. And Pastor Cal said, I heard it the same way. So, yeah, Mitch, you are not making Kristen feel like the warm and fuzzy. So you were okay with having sex with her and you were attracted then. But now that she's pulled back on sex, you have to worry about the attraction again. Mitch be Mitching, I tell you. So Dr. Pepper says she assumed his answer would have been in the affirmative. And if she knew it, that it would be all of this, she wouldn't have brought it out to the group. So Mitch, again, he feels like he's put on the spot. He feels like, everybody is against him. And he's like, is this the best way to handle it? So Kristen says and Mitch says, he started talking about secret conversations and stuff. And so Kristen was like, no, it wasn't a secret conversation. My sister told me exactly what you said. And you wanted a hippie girl walking down the aisle, and you needed advice on how to get Kristen how to dress down. You wanted to get advice on how to get me to dress down. So she was like, that isn't a secret conversation. You just said it to my sister. And you thought my sister wasn't going to tell me? Come on now. So Kristen says, she's now embarrassed and that he took the opportunity to just point out all of her flaws. Like, it's just, she's back at the honeymoon again. And I can't imagine how she feels. So Dr. Pepper is urging them to work through it and thinks Mitch finds her attractive. So this is when Kristen stands up for herself. She stands up against the experts and she stands up against Mitch. Kristen says, and I try to get as much as she said because I wanted you all to know how proud I am of Kristen saying this. So Kristen says, she will not accept he is attracted to her enough. She is not going to accept that he has come this far in his journey. She is tired of accepting his triumph over 8 weeks of needing professional help to get there. Kristen says he made her so confused about herself. And when she came into this, process, she was a full, confident woman and was excited about life and excited about this experience. She wants someone to be excited when she walks in the room. Yes, Kristen, and thinks she is beautiful even when she has on a little bit of makeup and she is done. Drop the mic, Kristen. Drop the mic because you said that. So the experts is looking like, oh, they clutching their pearls and everything. So Dr. Pepper says, I'm sorry. Kristen says, I don't need an apology from you. I need an apology from him. Yes, Kristen. Woo! But you do need an apology from the experts because that man was looking for a dirty girl and you are not, and she is not that girl. So Mitch says he's looking confused and he said, he's feeling blindsided. Why, Mitch? Why? You've been around here mitching. Why you feel blindsided? You've been mitching. So Kristen is annoyed. She's on 10 at this point. She says, is this blindsiding to anyone? And so everybody's looking stunned at this point. So of course, Justin and Alexis in their confessional, Justin and Alexis say in their confessional, Lord, that Mitch may not know what he wants. And Alexis says, you shouldn't be half attracted to anyone, especially your spouse. So Justin says, maybe he needs a hippie from Boulder, Colorado. So Alexis, chimes in and says, with dirty feet. These two, y'all, if y'all could get it together, y'all would be a match made in heaven because y'all always sniping from the sidelines. I mean, good God. So Mitch says that he hasn't tried to force his will on Kristen. So he's pleading his case at this point. Pastor Cal reminds everybody that you all wanted to be married and you said you all would do what it takes to stay married. And that's seen. Let me tell y'all, Kristen is the MVP of this episode. She stood up for herself. She stood up to the experts, and she said, I deserve more. Now, Kristen, I'm gonna be mad if you go back next episode and you start accepting Mitch and all his Mitching ways. Okay? Stand in it, Kristen. Be the powerful woman that you are and stay confident. I mean, that was amazing. And Kristen has been my favorite, my favorite so far. And I love the way she communicates. She's very direct. She's very assertive in her communication. I don't know how her parents chose to rear their kids, but they have done a great job with both. I was impressed with Rachel, Kristen's sister, and her communication. And Kristen, I'm always impressed how she communicates. It's amazing. It is amazing. And I enjoyed this episode. I would rate it probably, Kristen takes it up for me. So I would say an 8.5 out of 10 because Kristen really stood up for herself. And I like that she put Mitch in his place to the point where he was hemming and hawing. He didn't know what to say. So that, that made my heart smile. And I feel like we as individuals, when someone oversteps their boundary or tries to make you feel unloved or bad about yourself, that's how you show up. You tell them what they will and will not do, and you stand in that. I don't care if it's your parents. I don't care if who it is. You don't allow anyone to tear you down and make you feel less than. I'm telling you, Kristen was the MVP. Tell me how y'all feel below. Again, I enjoyed this episode, and I want you, if you enjoyed this commentary, to hit the like button. If you made it this far, hit the like button, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified about all of my uploads, and share this. Share this to someone who maybe needs to, get some encouragement from Kristen and standing up for themselves. Share that. Share it with everyone. Share it on your, platforms, because I really enjoyed what Kristen had to say. And if you enjoy my content, yeah, share it to others. I just did a Jasmine Blues review, and I enjoyed that too. So yeah, it's your girl, Absolutely April. And I'm out. I don't want to belabor the point. So you all have a great and blessed day. Peace.